Blessings to you. Praise the Lord.
Good to see you.
Greetings to you.
Crazel has an offer for you.
That old goat always sends you whenever he needs something. What does he want this time?
He's looking for a pretty girl.
That's nothing. I've got plenty of them. What does he want her for? Not for himself, I hope.
No. He needs her to pose as a lady.
A lady? You mean a noblewoman?
Something like that.
Well, I don't know if any of my girls could pull it off. They can't even eat like a noble with cutlery.
That won't be a problem. She won't even have to say much.
Why does he need one? Not for himself, I hope.
No. He wants her to turn the Chamberlain's head.
Ah, so she's supposed to end up with Ulrich. Is that it? How much is he offering?
He says he can offer enough groschen for you to buy 2 cows. Or a small cottage.
It's quite a lot for our usual services.
And that's not all. The girl will get some perfume called Minter. I've already taken care of it. Nobody will be able to resist her.
That sounds nice and all. But that ain't nearly enough for certain services.
I don't understand. An offer like that? What's the problem?
You know what? I'm tired of this. Let's go and see what the girls have to say. They'll tell you about what they've been through with the Master Chamberlain. Girls, come here. Right, girls. We have a messenger here from Goodman Crazel. Tell us what you wanted to ask.
It's about the Semime wedding.
And the Chamberlain, who one of you should attend to.
God, anything but that. Dorothy, I actually have a lot of work to do, and...
Well, who wants to go first? Anna.
What should I say?
What should she say,
Tell me, why don't you want anything to do with the Chamberlain?
Well, the Lord Chamberlain invited me to Trotsky, and the girls warned me that it would be different to what I was used to. So I asked him if I should take a different soap or something. Or does the Master Chamberlain not like silk? Or if his bed is hard and my back will hurt. If only. But they said I'd have to do things that... How'd you put it? Things they haven't even thought of in hell. I thought the Master Chamberlain might be of a different religion, and that fucking a Christian girl would be a sin. But he believes in the same God as the rest of us.
Which makes it all the worse.
Then I thought maybe he was cruel to the girls, but I hear that's not the case either. It's not what he wants to do to us that's against God.
But what he wants us to do to him.
I thought he had leprosy.
Tell the girls how much Crazel is offering.
Enough that you'll be able to buy a small cottage.
Or 2 cows. Not bad, eh? Well, is anyone willing to go with the Chamberlain?
Not even for a golden goose.
I'd rather be celibate.
I thought he had leprosy.
Aye, but it's a tidy sum. I reckon I'll have to choose one of you myself.
Dorothy, I swear that
I'm not going anywhere. You can't make me.
Dorothy, I'll scrub all the tubs here for the rest of my life. I swear. All of them. Every day.
I'll do that too. And I'll even take care of the outhouses.
Girls, come now.
I'll go then. If I can handle it a second time, it'll be a miracle. And maybe they'll even make me a saint.
No, you can't. Dorothy, please don't make her do that again.
Dorothy, for the love of God.
Calm down, girls. Don't worry. I'll never send you to the Chamberlain again. I just wanted to show Crazel's lackey here what you've been keeping from me for so long.
Christ almighty. I was starting to accept my fate.
God in heaven.
Oh, I feel filthy just thinking about it. I'd like to jump in a bath.
So, in case you didn't get the message, lad, no girl from Zhelioff is going with the Chamberlain.
I still don't get it. What's so terrible about him?
Weren't you listening?
What he demands is just heathen it is.
It's worse than if he had leprosy.
Well, he doesn't wash.
If only.
That would be a doddle.
I'd go with him twice if that's all it was.
You don't want to know, believe me.
All right. What am I supposed to do now?
Do what you like. We've said our piece. Go and find some heathen girl. A harlot like that came here recently, asking for work. She was from them nomads.
Aye, I remember her. Nose in the air, talking fancy like some scholar.
She introduced herself as Emmeline of Winterthur, like she was some noblewoman.
I didn't trust her for a moment. She was pretty, though. There's no denying that. I wanted to give her a chance, but she asked for so much coin. I thought I must be hearing things. Try asking after her in the camp. Maybe she's got a stronger stomach than my girls.
Poor thing.
I'll pray for her.
Well, thank you.
Na co dziwes, Gadzio. Katarso, what's up, fool? Careful!
Sarchives Goro, Sorodes.
I hear there's some Eneline here with you. Where can I find her?
She's calming our horses with her pretty little face. Follow the smell of the fillies and you will find her. Or if not, she will be getting water down at the pond. I wish you a blessed evening.
Greetings to you, friend. Are you Mistress Eneline of Winterthur?
Winterthur, Lyon, Vienna. It doesn't matter. What do you want?
I'm Henry. I was sent by Miller Crazel. We have a job offer for you.
Huh. How did you find out about me?
Your reputation precedes you, miss.
All the way? You're only saying that to please me, aren't you? But it's sweet of you. But be that as it may, what's the job?
To go to the Semine wedding with us. As a companion.
A wedding, you say? The last time I was at a wedding was in Nevers, France. I had to sing there. I'd like to avoid that this time.
You don't have to sing. Or even say much. All you have to do is behave like a lady.
Behave like a lady? Do you mind? I am one. Or hadn't you noticed?
Sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
All right, then. How much?
Crazel's offering enough to buy a little cottage.
A cottage? I was offered an estate for my services in Antwerp, and a 30-foot gondola in Venice. Although this is only Trotsky after all, I can't expect too much in this backwater. All right then, I'll do it. But first, tell me this. What can I expect at this Semine?
You'll be treated to the finest food there. Meat, cakes, maybe even fish.
Lovely. And what else?
Now that Trotsky is closed, there's no more prominent stronghold in the region than Semine Fortress. Someone will surely give you a tour and show you the magnificently decorated chambers.
Tempting. Tempting. And what else?
Naturally, the father of the bride, Bailiff Thrush, will be there. Someone will surely introduce you. At such an occasion, the second most important man in the domain is sure to put in an appearance. The Chamberlain of Trotsky, Sir Ulrich von Schaumburg.
The Chamberlain, as in the castle caretaker. I'm not interested in some little clerk.
You should be. He's the one Crazel wants you to pay attention to at the wedding.
Pay attention? How?
So you two can... how can I put it? You know, get friendly. Intimate. In a romantic way, if you get me.
I beg your pardon. Do you take me for some cheap whore? A harem girl? A brothel wench? A bathhouse hussy?
I'm sorry, but...
Silence! I am an Elaine, a companion, a courtesan. I am courted by gentlemen vying for my favour. I have been a concubine in Krakow, a mistress in Venice, and a gentleman's companion in Basel. My name is known in Brandenburg, Marseille, and Malopolska. I have fulfilled the wildest wishes of the most important commanders of Sigismund's army. Until he stopped paying, the ginger bastard, I'll do my work the way I see fit. Got that?
All right. Got it.
I should hope so. So, to the point. What do you want from the Chamberlain?
It's mainly about a book we need to borrow from Trotsky. And the way to get it leads right through the Chamberlain and his quarters. And maybe through his bed. I don't know the exact details. Crazel will tell you himself.
So, common theft. That's a bit of a disappointment. I've played a part in assassinations and rebellions, and now I'm reduced to this. Helping to steal a book. But why not? I expect it won't be anything too complicated, and the coin is certainly worth it.
Not so fast. It won't be that easy with the Chamberlain.
Why do you think that?
Just so you know, Crazel originally wanted to take a bath wench to the wedding, but the girls said they didn't want anything to do with him because of his special tastes. I asked them what's behind it, and, well, some wanted to vomit after meeting him. Others said they started considering the convent.
Poor girls. Here in the arse end of the world, girls are no doubt used to just lying on their backs and staring up at the ceiling.
Well, it seems it's not about what Chamberlain Schaumburg did to them, but what he wanted them to do to him.
I knew a Schaumburg from Nuremberg, and he was a hermaphrodite. He had both, things. A respected person, a member of the town council. It can catch you off guard, because you don't know what you're getting into. Maybe it's also the case with the local bathwenchers. But I don't want to make fun of the girls. Not everyone wants to try new tricks, if you know what I mean. I must say, I'm quite curious about the Chamberlain now.
You're taking it bravely.
Believe me, it takes a lot to shock me. I'm not easily frightened, and just in case, there's this potion I carry around. A couple of drops and the Chamberlain will sleep like a log. Except I've run out of wine. I should have some at hand, just to be sure.
I can find some wine for you.
I'd manage somehow, but I won't complain if you see to it for me. There's one more thing, though. I don't think anyone will believe I'm a lady in these old rags.
Don't worry about that. Crazel told me to get hold of a dress and some perfume for you.
What dress?
A red one. Tyrolean brocade.
Brocade. I like it. Crazel clearly knows what he's doing. Are you going to the wedding as well?
As your bodyguard.
You should get some nice clothes for yourself in that case. You don't look too terrible, but there's always room for improvement. And as for that perfume, it ought to be one that lasts a long time.
Crazel suggested Minter.
I'll take his word for it.
I've already got it for you.
Come on then, show me.
About the things for the wedding.
Yes.
I brought you some wine.
And where is it? I don't see it.
That's all for now. Any news about Marika?
It's time to start packing. We should move on before they come after us with an army. And Marika? Poor girl.
He's worked so hard to get to where he is today. Lord Salim should be glad Thrush gave Agnes his...
You have a kind master, eh, dog? Good morning.
I hear Lord Salim...
Show me your wares.
Can get right now.
On account of the wedding?
If that was all, I heard his coffers were empty even before.
God be with you. Keep the peace and we'll stay friends.
Cheers. I hope you have an uneventful shift.
Huh? You can't be here. Hey! You almost hit me! Christ, it's fucking butchery!
Folks, help! For God's sake, help! Greetings.
My God, these furry...
About the things for the wedding,
Yes.
I brought you some wine.
Oh, you remembered. Thank you.
A trifle. I have a dress for you. What do you think?
My, oh my. That is very pretty. Fine handiwork. I'd tidy up the seams a bit, but so be it. We're not in a city, let alone Innsbruck. Thanks.
I have some perfume for you. Will this do?
My God! It smells just like the yellow headband I wore in Pisa. It brings back memories. Thanks.
I've brought you everything you asked for. Are you ready to leave for Semi?
I am. Once you're ready, just say the word.
Can we go to Semi now?
That wasn't too hard, was it? It suits you. You won't look out of place now.
Good to hear. Should we go?
Hold on a while. I'll get washed and dressed, then we can go.
Welcome, Miller. Who are your companions?
Who do you think? More guests.
Creso, my friend. So you've arrived. And you're bringing company?
Sir, Allow me to introduce Miss Kvieta from Kolin. She's an acquaintance of mine. That is, I knew her parents. They were burghers.
I was passing by, and Miller Krazel was kind enough to ask me to accompany him. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. I wouldn't turn away a visitor from so far away.
Lord Sameen, why didn't you tell me you were expecting a lovely lady?
I'm just as surprised as you are. This is Goodwife Kvieta.
Miss Kvieta, from Colleen. It's an honor, Master Chamberlain.
And who are you, lad?
Henry. I'm helping Miller Krazel.
I brought him along to chaperone Miss Kvieta. She doesn't know anyone here, so I didn't want to leave her alone.
The services of your lad will not be required. I'll be happy to take care of Miss Kvieta. Of course, only if she wants to.
It would be an honor, Master Chamberlain.
You can leave, boy.
But, Master Chamberlain, you wouldn't just send Henry off, would you?
There's food and drink aplenty. We can easily accommodate one more guest.
Thank you. What about Lord von Berghoff? Has he arrived yet? I'd love to meet him.
The Royal Chamberlain is certainly not interested in the likes of you, boy.
Well, he hasn't arrived yet anyway.
I'm sure he'll come. You don't have to worry, sir.
I hope so. We can't hold off the ceremony until evening.
Oh, plenty of daylight left. At least you can get rid of those flea-ridden beggars by the gate in the meantime.
What? They're back? Tuma! Didn't I tell you to chase them away?
I drove them off, but they came back.
Close the gate so the guests don't see them. They must be gone by the time Lord von Berghoff arrives. Every last one, you hear?
Oh dear, oh dear. Why so angry, sir? You seem a little jumpy. Surely not because of Sir Otto.
Of course it's because of him. What if it all ends up in disgrace? What if he turns up at the gate and leaves? I know he's capable of that.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Thanks, but I can't ask that of you. What kind of host would that make me?
If the boy offers voluntarily, you shouldn't turn him down. If he proves himself, perhaps we can introduce him to Lord von Berghoff as a reward. If that's what he wants.
I promise I won't bring shame on you.
We'll see. I've got to make some arrangements with the cook, but come and see me later. In the meantime, you can introduce yourself to the bailiff's son, Svartepluk, over there. You're the same age, so I think you'll get along just fine.
See now, Henry? I'm sure he could point you out some pretty lasses.
There's plenty of other entertainment, too. Bailiff Thrush is holding a dice tournament, and Captain Gnarly a dueling contest. In short, a proper wedding. Eat and drink to your heart's content. Rejoice! It's a big day for Sameen.
One more thing, sir.
What else? Did I forget something?
They're, weapons.
Yes, of course. Please leave your weapons with Tuma. You surely understand it's for security.
God bless. What would you like? God be with you.
I heard some interesting books from Prague have arrived at the castle. There's one I'd like to borrow. An alchemist's cookbook. A sand-coloured cover, embossed.
Yes, several rare and astonishing books have arrived from Prague. But why are you interested in an alchemist's cookbook, of all things?
I've heard there are some interesting ideas in it. Every alchemist is in dogged pursuit of wisdom, especially those from Prague.
Perhaps you know more about that book than I do. Well, I'll have to disappoint you. Lord Nickvard Libak helped me sort the new books at the time, and the one you're looking for caught his attention. He left with it before I could even discover what it's about. All I remember is the author's initials, B.B. I'm fairly benevolent when it comes to lending books, and I appreciate Nickvard's help, but he's had it borrowed for an excessive amount of time now. I'd like to ask him to return it, but he's been avoiding me.
Why would Nickvard suddenly be avoiding you?
I have a sneaking suspicion. It seems Nickvard lost the book. I've warned him repeatedly not to carry borrowed books around with him, but to leave them in his chamber and read them there. But Nickvard is old and stubborn, and this is how things turn out.
The price of such a book must be incalculable. People like Nickvard are too dumb to understand.
But I digress. As I said, Nickvard is intentionally avoiding me. But I've made headway. I've managed to find 3 people who've spoken to him recently. Bertha, the cook, Regina, the maid, and Hirsch, the hand.
I reckon those aren't the only 3 people that know him.
I'm surprised that he's ever spoken to anyone but myself. Nickvard is a loner, which is also why I suspect something bad has happened. Now that he's decided to leave his shell, that is. But I'm afraid that's all I've managed to find out. Since Lord von Berkhove's arrival, I've been preoccupied with other matters.
I'll help you. I'll ask all 3 and see if they lead me to Nickvard.
Many thanks. If you aren't sure what to do, stop by and we'll discuss what you found out.
Before I go, can you tell me where I can find those people in the castle?
Who, exactly?
You said Nickvard is avoiding you. Where at the castle does he live? Are there any places he frequents?
Nickvard lives like a hermit here at Trotsky. Like a ghost. His chambers are in the Crone's tower. But God knows if he's ever slept there. He took his meals down in the Crone's kitchen. Lately, I've often seen him talking to Regina in the Knight's Hall, in the Maiden, or looking out the hall window. I caught sight of him a few times with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle.
So I just have to hope I run into him somewhere.
Nickvard always just shows up. I've rarely ever found him on my own. I'm not surprised you can't find him anywhere, since I've been trying myself.
Where is Bertha?
Bertha cooks for us in the Crone's kitchen. She's there most days. If you can't find her there, try the first house in the lower castle, across from the door to the dungeon.
Where is Regina?
As Lord von Berkhoff's personal maid, she'll likely be somewhere in the Maiden's Palace, perhaps in the Knight's Hall, or on the floor above it, near the Lord's chambers. She even sleeps there.
Where is Hirsch, the stable boy?
I've seen him with Hirsch at the transport yard below the castle. He sleeps in the house directly across from it. I don't know him much, though.
That's everything I needed to know.
Greetings. Do you need something?
I'm looking for Nickvard. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Well, I'm waiting for Lord Libak to stop by. I brewed him another phial of medicine, but I don't even know if the last one helped. I told him to stop by for another one soon. I reckon he must be feeling better.
Did he say where he was headed?
I can't say. I promised Lord Libac his secret is safe with me, as well as his vial of medicine.
Oh, come now. Nickvard misplaced an important book somewhere. A sort of alchemist cookbook. I need to find it.
I remember the recipes by heart. And Lord Libac's secret is certainly worth more than any book.
Listen, Bertha. Do you realise your stubbornness is making everything more difficult? Nickvard could have got himself into a lot of trouble by borrowing that book. Maybe somebody tried to kill him, and you don't even know about it. You think he's suffering from rheumatism or something?
Aye, right, I'm sure that's how it is. Like Lord Libac is part of some grand conspiracy. As if, you idiot.
Well, if a nobleman's secret is worth so much, how about this? That'll buy you more than one book.
I suppose Lord Libac wouldn't mind. And do you have the exact amount?
Of course.
So many groschen. I promise I'll split it with Lord Libac when I see him, and I'll explain everything.
But now tell me, what's the medicine for?
Well, it's a common potion for a bellyache. Just better tasting. It helps your meals go down easier and come out slower the other end. In that regard, Lord Libac had, well, how to say it? Everything came out much too quickly.
Nickvard didn't have time to run down the stairs, eh?
It was in the privy down below the Crone. By the training ground, below the guardhouse. I helped him clean his hose and made him the medicine, and I promised that I wouldn't say anything. Lord Libac is quite particular about the impression he makes on the young maids, you know. He didn't want this little episode to put them off. That's why he didn't use the privy near the maids' quarters. Though it's closer to his chamber, but to the arena instead, and only when there weren't any soldiers around. But this time, it caught up with him.
Is that all?
What else is there to say? That the entire time he looked as if he'd done the worst thing in the world. It happens to the best of us. And I told him as much then. I'm just surprised he never came back for another file, I must say. He did look as if the fate of the entire castle was suddenly on his shoulders.
I don't know if this is going to do me any good.
Well, you could have found a worse clue.
Thanks anyway. Do you know where I can find Nickvard? The scribe said you might know.
Erazim is suddenly interested in Nickvard and me. You don't say. But when I need him to read something for me, he never has the time. I'm sorry.
I was asking about Nickvard.
Aye, I heard you. Say, can you read?
I can.
In that case, would you mind reading this message I have from Nickvard?
Show me. Dear Mistress of the Chambers. What is it?
Oh, what I wouldn't give to get messages from someone else. Say, Lord Capon. Never mind. Read on. Though I reckon it interests you more than me.
Persevere. We shall soon escape the dungeon of those two women. Cursed fate, however, has placed an obstacle in my way. The heat of the Lightbringer's potion is working, and I can feel my insides being reborn. But when the last remnants of old age left my body, something else was washed away with them.
How much longer is it?
Not much. My damn clumsiness has sent all of the Lightbringer's secrets into the void, but fear not, I shall get them back. May this be the first task on the road to your liberation. That's it.
Beautiful.
True enough. Nickvard has a flair for the dramatic.
My, that's Liebach for you.
But what does it mean? Can you explain any of it to me?
Lord Liebach has taken a liking to me. I suggested to him it wasn't proper for a noble to have an affair with a maid. He thought I meant he was too old for me. But then he found what he calls the Lightbringer's Potion Book. He said it would light a flame in him that would burn out all that's old. So I suppose it worked. Hooray!
I know the book he's talking about, but what does he mean, into the void?
Look, can we stop talking about this? I feel a little uncomfortable here talking about some old lovelorn nobleman.
I understand. Just one more thing, please. When was the last time you saw Nickvard? And where?
The last time was in the Knight's Hall, but that was a long time ago. I found that message a few days ago. Hard to say where he's off to.
Thanks anyway.
I'm always glad to see polite people like you. God be with you.
So, I went to see my brother. To talk about the inheritance.
God bless. I'm looking for Nickvard. The scribe told me you might know something about him.
Hey, Nick. I mean, Lord Liebach. I almost forgot about him. I suppose his task wasn't so pressing, hmm?
What task?
Nick Liebach, that is, entrusted me with a big task quite a while back. He's a castle lord. Obviously, I had to obey him. But then I heard what another castle lord was planning, von Berghoff, and I had to obey him even more. He says there's a war on. So here I am, ready to go off to battle.
I need to know more about what Nickvard asked you to do.
No. There are new rules now. You have to prove you're not a spy.
I understand, sure. Just tell me what you want, and let's not delay.
A sword.
Sword? What sword?
A long and very good one to help me deal with other spies. If you bring it to me, I'll know you're not an enemy spy who should fear me. Forge one, buy one, or even steal one for me. Maybe from one of the guards at the training ground or down by the gate. During the day, they're not in the towers anyway.
Steal a sword? That sounds like something a spy would do.
Not a spy who wants to help von Berghoff's most loyal servant. By servant, I mean me. See, once I get a sword, I'll fill you in on Nickvard's task.
Listen, Hirsch.
Don't try any word games on me. Persuasion, threats. I know about them spy tricks. Deeds talk louder than words. For example, like bringing me a sword.
I'll gladly give you some groschen to buy your own sword.
Only spies pay bribes. Unless you had more groschen than a common spy would have. Then I'd believe you ain't one of them. Do you have that much?
I'm not going to pay you that much.
You want to hang on to your spy earnings. I understand. Well, you won't get another chance.
You wanted a sword, so look at what I got for you.
That's perfect. Lovely. I don't think you're a spy. Can't say for sure, but you seem all right.
What about Nickvard, then?
Nickvard asked me to do something for him. He must have admired my devotion to Lord von Berghoff.
You mainly appear to be devoted to idling. Shouldn't you be carrying sacks like the others?
Either way, Nick looked troubled and not very healthy. He wanted me to fetch him something he lost outside the castle, and I told him I would. At least I could check to see if anyone was sneaking around about the castle. But then Nickvard clutched his belly and ran off. So I never found out what he wanted, or from where.
That's all?
Aye. If you run into Nickvard, ask him if he still needs it or whether he found it himself. I'll be going into war soon, so I don't have time for these things, see?
I'll tell him. Slowly. Nice and slow. Go! Ja! Quick! Easy, easy. Nice and slow. Quick! Quick! You must be Nickvard, eh? Poor wretch. How many more times am I gonna have to poke around in corpses and shit for that damn crazy?
I hope. You silly doggy.
I have the book for you.
Well, I must admit, I haven't had an apprentice this handy in a long time. Zinnik has nothing on you.
I didn't even look inside.
You had a treasure like this in your hands, and you weren't even curious to have a peek? Well, I suppose it's not for everyone. I'll have a look for myself. This really is something. But why is it all covered in shit, for fuck's sake?
Let's just say the scribe didn't have it. It actually wasn't even in the castle. Under it, really.
Oh, refining saltpeter. Boil wine and alum. Grind. Ah, of course, it makes sense. I'll study the rest on the way. Well, the last chapter of our story of knowledge awaits us. The grand finale.
So what now? Do you have another job for me?
Charcoal. Sulfur from Hermes Trismegistos. Saltpeter from the carcass pit. As long as Black Bertolt didn't make any mistakes in his calculations, we have everything.
What Bertolt? Oh, God damn it, Kraser, what's going on here? I'm tired of flying back and forth like a rag on a stick. I won't be led around by the nose. Will you finally tell me what's going on?
Believe it or not, all this secrecy had its reasons. But now I don't have to hide anything from you. It's time. We'll meet with the others in the lair, and there you'll learn the whole truth. You go ahead. I'm going to get a few things ready here.
All right, then. I hope you keep your word this time. Good day. Greetings.
To you two.
Quick! What'll happen now?
Our last supper, with only one but very filling course, awaits us.
Krazel, please. For once, just once, tell me what's actually going on.
And rob myself of enjoying your blissful ignorance? Not a chance. Tell me yourself, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, hopefully I'll finally find out what the point of all this was.
Or not, until you try another dose of niter.
I wouldn't do that to him. Not today. Bonnie will start today. At least I'll finally see if she understood my teachings. Bonnie?
First of all, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the whole gang for all the work you've done. We could never have finished the job without you. We found 2 new partners, you and Monarch here. It's good to have someone to rely on. So, it's time we started being honest with you, so you can finally learn the whole truth.
Not yet. Let's pull up that uppity bastard's leg a bit longer. That's the fun part.
Never mind him. Speak.
All right, then. This whole time, you've been collecting ingredients and clues for us. But, so you wouldn't go nosing around, we always told you it was for something different than it actually was.
The miller here calls it tackets.
Tactics, you idiot. And everything worked out according to plan. So today we're finally close to our great success. With the help of Hermes Trismegistos and his successors, we'll finally complete the dream of all alchemists. Our magnum opus.
Exactly, Bonnie.
Magnum opus. A great work of alchemy. You're trying to make the Philosopher's Stone.
I see you've learned something after all. But no, the Philosopher's Stone isn't our goal.
Let's see then, Henry. What is it you think we're making here?
Some kind of weapon?
Well, Henry's not too far from the truth after all, don't you think? Actually, he's pretty spot on, although weapons were our last order of business. Let's start at the beginning. My father was a miller as well, but I was never much interested in the trade. Even as a young boy, I loved running around Lower Samine and investigating everything living and dead. And I had a lot of questions about everything. Then my mother, God rest her soul, decided it'd be best for me to go to study in Prague. As soon as I grew up and gained a bit of sense, I packed my bags and left.
So you went to a university in Prague? The son of a miller?
Why not? My father worked his arse off, and he had the coin for it, miller or not. I met a lot of remarkable people at the university, and my thirst for knowledge kept growing. But in the end, It only took a year of all that pretentious, scholarly blathering and hypocritical nonsense for me to realize I wouldn't learn anything proper there. Most of the students and masters are just a bunch of dogmatic fools. They have their own truth, and those who want to know more or ask the wrong questions fall into disfavor, as was my case.
And what about your thirst for knowledge?
I realized I didn't need the university for things that are truly important. The most important science is not subject to any religious dogma. And, of course, it's not taught at any university.
You mean alchemy?
Exactly. The art of combination and dissolution. The key to understanding the very nature of the world. There's only one queen of science. Alchemy. I returned to the mill in Lower Samine and started a new life.
What did your parents say when you returned from your studies?
My mother had already passed away. All my father said was, "I knew you'd be back." And he sent me to haul sacks of flour. I think in the end he was glad to have someone to take over the mill from him. From then on, alchemy became my true passion. I brought a few important books from Prague. I started with the most difficult thing. I tried to create gold.
That was pretty daring of you.
As you might expect, it didn't work. But after a few tries, I managed to create something entirely different. Once I tried mixing sulfur, charcoal, and saltpeter. I had a candle burning next to me. A gust of wind scattered the mixture, and all of a sudden, bang! I almost shit myself, I tell you. But then I realized I'd unwittingly created a miracle. Explosive black powder.
So I was right. You're making weapons.
No, it's about much more than that. We're all in on it now.
I couldn't continue my experiments on my own, but Bonnie and Zinnig did a few little jobs for me.
So he initiated us.
But we just still didn't know how to do it right and not blow ourselves up in the process.
And we used up a huge amount of saltpeter and sulfur.
By the way, the manuscript from that Hermes Trismegistos was our shopping list and price list for material from Kuttenberg.
Only we didn't know correct proportions. I looked up a few of my former fellow students and brought it up with them. And we found out that before us, some monk had already made the discovery.
Some fella called Black Bertold, and that he even started writing a book called Feuerwehr.
Feuerwerkbuch.
We couldn't believe our luck when we found out there's a copy of it right here at Trotsky.
And you know the rest.
It's a discovery that will change history. In the right hands, it can make miracles happen. All it takes is a spark, and a storm of fire will sweep away the old world order. It will wipe out stupidity and ignorance, once and for all.
And what will happen now?
As I said, we're about to have our last supper on our journey to satisfy our hunger for knowledge. A feast of smoke and fire. Black Bertold never finished his book, because he never had enough ingredients for his last great experiment. But now, thanks to you, we do. We can finally finish Bertold's work and finish his book. We'll see with our own eyes what a barrel of black powder can do. I hope you're as excited as I am.
Before we get started, there's something I want to know. How did a scholar and an alchemist become a thief?
Prague is a big city, and a poor student has no chance of getting a decent place to sleep or even something to eat. Learning to shop with 5 fingers was the first requirement for survival. We're all masters of our own destiny.
This book, Feuerwerkbuch, what's written in it?
Everything you'd want to know about black powder. How to mix it in the proper ratio, how to store it, how to light it properly, and especially how to use it in warfare, because that's the most important part, after all.
What is it you studied at the university?
I was supposed to become a preacher.
That fits you. Maybe you'd even be a good preacher.
Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't.
God has a path prepared for each of us. And each of us here decided not to follow it.
I was supposed to be a dyer, but I was too lazy to work 6 days a week and soak my hands in lye.
I was supposed to become a nun, but I didn't want to give up the booze and fellas.
And I've already told you everything. The world is what you make it.
Do you really need that much saltpeter?
We do. Saltpeter makes up almost 3/4 of the mixture. Not even all the cows in the region could produce enough for us once we really get started with manufacturing.
What is it you're going to do with this powder?
During wartime, like it is now, a flammable and explosive mixture like this has more uses than you can imagine. If we had a few big barrels of the stuff, we could demolish Trotsky if we wanted to. And maybe we will.
All of us here are truly passionate about the idea of a new world, and now it's within our grasp.
I've heard enough. Now I want to see that with my own eyes.
Let's do it then. Bonnie, is everything ready?
Indeed it is. We can get started. Long live the beautiful new world.
Looks like it ain't working.
I'd say it works just fine.
This will change history.
What? I can't hear a thing. But I'd say it works just fine.